Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. We're just going to get into it because as guys know, I'm in college, doing college things, homework, everything. And I go and I see something. Adam Schefter puts out that Antonio Pierce fired. Now, a lot of people, Raiders fan base, are saying it's the right move. If I'm being honest, I don't think it's the right move, and I'm about to go on a rant because Antonio Pierce. Okay, first you just thrust him in here. You first of all you don't keep Rich Bisaccia, which mind boggled me, but we're not going to talk about that. This is about Antonio Pierce. So you bring him in after you hire Josh McDaniels, 6-11, Josh McDaniels, and then he was 3-5. They fire him. Antonio Pierce comes in. They finish 8-9. So down the stretch, he went 5-4. Not it was okay, not great, but okay. Then you hire him to be the full-time head coach. You didn't want to make the same mistake that you made when with Rich Bisaccia, where you didn't hire him and you hired Josh McDaniels, and it goes off the rails. You give away his best running back, or he leaves. Josh Jacobs, you don't pay him and he leaves. Derek Carr, you release him. You don't trade up in the draft to get a quarterback. And now he has to go out, and the GM gets to keep his job, by the way. Joe Telesco, he gets to keep his job, but Pierce doesn't. Yeah. So Telesco, obviously, they get rid of Jacobs. They get rid of Waller, too. And they get rid of Carr. And now this year comes up, obviously. His quarterback are Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew, because in the draft you didn't trade up, so you didn't get one of the quarterbacks you thought Bo Nix would be there, wasn't there. So you don't get a quarterback. So you don't get him a quarterback, essentially. He's stuck with Aiden O'Connell, Desmond Ritter, and Gardner Minshew. Yeah, great. Then what else? Devontae Adams wants to be traded. So you trade him to New York. Yeah, great. That's strike one. He's done the best he could with the defense. Crosby's had some injuries and all that, but he's done the best he can from the defense. From the offensive standpoint, you've done nothing. The Raiders have done nothing to help Antonio Pierce. Antonio Pierce, this is his first year. He's trying to make the culture and to change the culture into what he wants it to be. But yet you fire him because what? You didn't win enough games? Oh my gosh, a bad team coming into the year was bad. Wow. You know why you didn't win more games? Because the pieces that helped you be good, Jacobs, Devontae Adams, Walt, gone. And yes, Brock Bowers has been good. And yes, because the Raiders have won some games, some extra games. Yes. But when you have guys that don't want to be there, that really contaminates the locker room. This is the second coach that's been fired after really not getting a fair shot this year. Now it's Antonio. This year it's Antonio Pierce and Gerard Mayo. We're gonna film an episode talking to. I'm going to do an episode right after this. It'll be out later talking about what's going on. I'm gonna preview all the playoff matchups, CFP, whatever. But it's not about that right now. It's about Antonio Pierce. What the Raiders have done to Antonio Pierce here, I just think is absolutely ridiculous. And this is going to be their fourth head coach in 6 years. Whoever they whoever they hire most likely is going to go into 2026 after coach. But right now, this will be their fourth coach in 5 years. John Gruden, obviously they didn't want to let him go, but they kind of had to because of the allegate because of the him making comments about gays and all that, and just using just bad language that you shouldn't use in any conversation. That's why he got fired. Then you bring Rich Bisaccia. Rich Bisaccia gets you into the playoffs, but you don't hire him. Yeah, you're gonna go hire Josh McDaniels. Yeah, way to go, way to go, Raiders. Woo! Hire Josh McDaniels. Yeah, you hear my sarcastic clapping because it makes no sense. And then now you get Pierce in here. Pierce, who hasn't had a playoff roster in the time he's been here, which is barely. This is his first full year. You let go of Josh Jacobs. Devontae Adams wants to be traded. You trade him. He's done the best he can, like I said, with the defense and the offense. He doesn't have a quarterback. So now you're going into get another coach. Now look, I don't know who they're going to get. I don't know. To me, if I'm the Raiders, I look at Pete Carroll. If you want to get somebody similar to Pierce that maybe has a little bit more, look, Mike Vrabel. I was about to say Mike Vrabel, but Mike Vrabel has been linked to almost every job. To me, Vrabel's going to New England. So that's that. I guess Vegas, I don't know if they want to start over. This isn't even starting over completely. Telesco gets to keep his job, but the guy who assembled this roster, Telesco, gets to keep his job. But Antonio Pierce gets let go based off of what? Based off of what? This is the statement they put out. Marita, the Las Vegas Raiders have relieved Antonio Pierce of his duties as head coach. We appreciate Antonio's leadership, first as an interim head coach and this past season as the head coach. Antonio grew up a Raiders fan and his silver black roots run deep. We are grateful for his ability to reignite what it means to be a Raider throughout the entire organization. We wish nothing but the best for Antonio and the family in his future. You never gave the man a chance. You never gave him a chance. I'm not sure how you expected him to succeed without a QB in the AFC West. If you look at the AFC West, Chargers, Herbert, now Broncos, Knicks, obviously Chiefs, Mahomes, but you don't have a quarterback. And you didn't trade up to get one. It doesn't make sense yet. And I know people want to say, oh, well, no. And he want to say, and people are saying, oh, Telesco has actually been making some good moves. And look, I get it. Maybe I'm being too hard on Telesco, but for me, it just makes zero sense on how are you going to fire Pierce, who A's only been there 1 year, and two, he did it. This is not a playoff roster. This is not a playoff roster. Telesco, they're saying, oh, we just didn't get the QB you wanted. But what happened last year too when they finished 8-9? We just hasn't gotten the QB he wanted. He went out to get Jimmy Garoppolo as his answer. He went out and said, and it's not going to trade up. People were like, it's not that simple. All you had to do was trade up 1 or 2 spots. You tell me you couldn't call the Falcons or somebody or you couldn't call any of the teams in the top 12 and you couldn't have at least made a compelling offer so you could go up and get the quarterback. And look, Brock Bowers has been a great pick. That's good job by Telesco to get him, but let's be real. You needed a quarterback and you failed to get one. That's not on Pierce, that's on the GM. So look, I don't think it's fair to Pierce. Here are all the current NFL openings right now: Raiders, Jets, Jags, Bears, Saints, Patriots. Um, so yeah, I just don't find right. Like I'm seeing a lot of things about how Telesco should be kept. Look, people are going to be saying Tom Brady is going to be involved in the search. Look, if Telesco doesn't get a quarterback this offseason, he will be fired next year. Look, it's that the Raiders have now gone from John Gruden to Josh McDaniels to firing Pierce. It's the same cycle every 2 years. Now, would they bring back John Gruden? I have no clue on what they want to do there, but to me, it's absolutely ridiculous what what they've done to Antonio Pierce. To me, if I was the Raiders, this is what I would have done. I would have kept Pierce and I would have trusted Telesco to get a quarterback. I because I do believe I know I've given Telesco a little bit of grief in this, but Telesco, in terms of his first three picks, Bowers Bowers, Johnson Powers, and then I forgot that other guy. But okay, those were his first two picks. They've been really good for the Raiders this season. If I'm the Raiders now, I just go out and get a offensive head coach and then see what happens. But yeah, Telesco's got to go out this offseason and get a quarterback. No questions asked. He's either got to trade up or he's going to have to get. But again, if you go the free agency route, I don't know. If Rodgers ain't available, who you getting? Are you going to pay Sam Darnold $50 million? I don't know. But that's all I got. That was my rant on Antonio Pierce being fired. It honestly, Gerard Mayo, sort of a similar thing. Like Gerard Mayo, I actually picked the Patriots to be the worst team in the league. Funny enough, they won 4 games, so they weren't the worst team in the league. So you can make the case Gerard Mayo was doing a good job, but I'm not going to get into him. That's all I got. There will be a pod up later discussing everything else. But yeah, that's just my little rant on Antonio Pierce being fired by the Las Vegas Raiders effective about an hour ago. All right. See you guys.